Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kayla and it's time to crack into a good book. So today's video is just going to be like a little mini TBR video. So basically I've been trying to pre-film a whole bunch of videos so that I don't have to film and edit and everything over the holidays. This is probably going to be like the start of a lot of the pre-filmed videos up into like January releases. So basically here, like I probably won't be doing wrap-ups for a little bit, but in January, you know, my plan is to obviously like wrap up everything that I do end up reading in December, and then, you know, I can get into like the favorites of the year videos and things like that. So today I just kind of wanted to talk about 5 different books that I think I may read over, you know, the holidays and everything. And, you know, I'm not going to guarantee that I will actually read these because I am a mood reader, but I think, you know, right now as I was trying to like create, you know, this video, I was like, they seem particularly promising, so it's likely that I will read them. And I am doing 2 different readathons, and I think a lot of these can fulfill some of the prompts, so we shall see. But we'll go ahead and get started, and these are in no particular order. So the first one that I'll talk about is Hindered Bell by J.D. Netto. So Kasha from Kasha's Book Cemetery very kindly sent this to me, but this is essentially like a dark fantasy Christmas tale, so I think that this is perfect to read around this time of the year. And it does seem to be, it's like pitched as being perfect for fans of Narnia and the Golden Compass. I think there's some sort of like portal element involved, so let us see here. So we have Enzo and Ava, who never expected to face their worst nightmare on Christmas Eve. They've always dreamed of magic but never thought of its actual existence and the consequences it carries. So during a violent snowstorm, they're visited by foul creatures called shadow spirits, and these beings kidnap their grandparents and vanish into a portal on the back of the tree. So after this, they discover Henderbell, which is this world of magic, wonder, and secrets. But there's this impending doom that's revealed. I guess the king and queen of Henderbell are missing, and their absence could trigger the destruction of this world and the human realm. So Enzo and Ava are on a quest to find these rulers, and they learn of a curse placed upon their own bloodline. But other ancient enemies have risen from their graves, seeking revenge for a past unknown to them. Like they find friendship, courage, and love as they face unimaginable darkness in their quest to redeem the world they belong and the one that they live in. So, I mean, that's basically all I know about this. I think it is like novella length, but I know Kasha definitely enjoyed it. I think that this sounds very intriguing. Obviously, it's like perfect for the holidays because we've got this Christmas element, and I'm super intrigued by this portal aspect. I do tend to enjoy portal fantasy, so, you know, I think this sounds very exciting. It's definitely going to be darker than Narnia, especially because like we have these weird shadow spirit things. The next one I'll talk about that I may read is Subhuman by Michael McBride. So this is like a horror thriller type book. So we've got this research station in Antarctica, and 5 of the world's top scientists have been brought together to solve a great mystery in human history. However, I guess their subject is anything but human. So beneath the ice, there's submerged ruins of a lost civilization that hold the key to strange mutations that each scientist has encountered across the globe. We've got a misshapen skull in Russia, grotesque carvings of a lost race in Peru, mummified remains of a humanoid monstrosity in Egypt. And these are not friendly, so we've got sound waves triggering the ancient organisms, and a new kind of evolution begins. So I guess some sort of long extinct life form is latching onto a human host, crossbreeding with human DNA, and is being reborn. Its instincts are fiercer, more savage than any predator alive. The prey is obviously the scientists who unleashed it, the humans who spawned it, and the tender living flesh on which it feeds. So that sounds delightful, you know, very cheerful Christmas reading. But I think, you know, this reminds me a lot of these like James Rowland's adventure books that I've like kind of talked about. Like he has like the Stigma Force series, which is, you know, a ongoing series, but he also has these standalones. And there is one that does specifically take place in like, I think it may be Antarctica, and there's like these Grundle type creatures or something, but this kind of reminds me of that, and like that's something I have been on the search for a while. Like I want similar books, I guess, with that tone, because I do enjoy like a good adventure book, and this seems like a lot of fun. It does seem like maybe it's leaning into more horror than those books necessarily, but you know, I do love horror, and I think that this sounds particularly exciting. You know, I think it'll be good for the winter because it takes place in Antarctica, and I want some cold weather, I guess, and, you know, atmospheric type things. I am very intrigued by just like what it is that this life form is, like an amalgamation between the Alien franchise and The Thing. So we've got some body horror with this vicious new paranormal slasher novel with a high body count and a whole heap of threads. So that sounds wonderful. And I just am very excited for this. I picked this up on sale a little bit ago, and the second one just went on sale as well. And that seems like a fun adventure type novel, so I went ahead and picked that up. So, perhaps if I really enjoy this, I'll skip right into that as well. And I think he's got Snowblind, which may have something to do with a Yeti, which is always wonderful. So, assuming that I enjoy these books, I have a whole bunch of other books from him that I can peruse as well. So, I think that this is going to be a fast-paced, intense thriller/horror, and I'm very excited to try it out. The next book I may potentially read is Snowspelled by Stephanie Burgis. Burgis, I'm not sure. She had given this away on Twitter perhaps a few weeks ago for free, and so I picked it up, and it's been something that I've had on my radar for a while, and I was like, oh, this is perfect. I do love a good free book. So basically, I think that these are kind of novellas, and it's more this historical fantasy type setting. So we have Cassandra, who I guess was the first woman magician, and she was betrothed to the brilliant, intense love of her life, but now she's trapped in a snowbound house party, yes, and I guess they're in the Elven Dales, surrounded by bickering gentlemen magicians, manipulative lady politicians, her own interfering family, and her infuriatingly stubborn ex-fiancé, who refuses to understand that she's given him up for his own good. So we've got the greatest danger of all lies outside the manor in the falling snow, where a powerful and malevolent elf lord lurks. And I guess this is also the location where she lost all of her own magic 4 months ago. So in order to save herself, she's going to have to discover what inner power she still possesses and risk everything to win a new kind of happiness. So this sounds wonderful. It's definitely like a fantasy romance type book, and I've heard a lot of really positive things about this. There's at least 2 novellas, I guess, out in this series. This is one that I picked out for this particular video because of the whole snow aspect. I'm trying to find wintery type books to read at this time of the year because I feel like that I like that sort of atmospheric type setting. And this sounds very intriguing, and also, I do love a good fantasy romance, and this seems like an interesting world. I'm curious about the elves. It sounds like a lot of fun. It's sort of like this alternate history type setting, Regency romance. Hopefully we learn more about what happened with her and her former fiance. The next one I'll talk about is Paladins Grace by T. Kingfisher. So, T. Kingfisher is the author of The Twisted Ones and The Hollow Places, but this is not a horror book. This is a fantasy romance, I think. And I believe this takes place in the same world as Swordheart, which I have not read, but I do also own that, so I'm not sure which order I'll read this in, but I think this one sounds more appealing to me at the current moment. So basically we have Stephen's god that died on the longest day of the year. So 3 years later, Stephen is a broken paladin, living only for the chance to be useful before he dies. All of this changes when he encounters a fugitive named Grace in an alley and witnesses an assassination attempt gone wrong. So now, Stephen and Grace have to navigate a web of treachery beset on all sides by spies and poisoners, while a cryptic killer stalks one step behind. So that sounds wonderful. I think these are both, older protagonists, which seems intriguing to me. What has been appealing to me about T. Kingfisher's writing is even in the horror books, there's still a lot of humor, and I think that will translate particularly well to this fantasy type setting. And she's written a whole bunch of other books, fairy tale retellings that she's done that I have some of and also want to read, but I do want to check out her fantasy type books. I think that this will be a lot of fun. I like that we have this fluffy potential romance, but also this I see something about a high severed head count, so that sounds like a lot of fun mixtures of things. And the last book that I may potentially read over the holidays is On the Shoulders of Titans by Andrew Rowe. So the 3rd book in the Arcane Ascension series just came out, and I was this seems like an appropriate time to read the second one, and thankfully today actually. And, granted, I'm sure by the time I post this video, this will be over, but he's giving away the first 2 books for free on Amazon. So I read the first book, which is Sufficiently Advanced Magic, several years ago, I think. I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. It was one of the first lit RPG novels I had read. And, I do enjoy a good video game, and I think the lit RPG experience, can be good, but sometimes it can also just be, a little tedious to read, constantly about, stat increases and things like that, that you would see if you were playing a video game, but I think he did a really good job of making it feel kind of natural and more fun in the first book. So this is a series that I've been meaning to continue for a while, and I just haven't for, whatever reason. But basically, in this particular book, this is kind of like a magic schools type setting, just something that works really well for me. So we follow Corin, and basically he's trying to find more information about his brother, and there's this kind of like shady organization that calls themselves Whispers, and I guess his last brush with these Whispers didn't end well. And I'm like, I kind of vaguely remember book 1. Maybe I'll ask Lena from Sufficiently Advanced Lena to give me like a quick recap if she can. But Corin wants to follow this lead, investigating these Whispers, but he's also got more problems to deal with. Sarah is suffering from a mysterious malady that has stolen her voice and her magic, and Corin is trying to help her fix this. His mother is off in another country. She may be involved with a certain conspiracy. And he also has been branded with a new magical mark on his right hand that even veteran climbers don't seem to recognize. So basically, you've got this like tower that has different rooms, traps, and monsters, and like if you survive the tower, you get these special like marks that grant that person magical powers. And it's like, in the first one, it's like there's this legend that if you can reach the top of the tower, you get a boon by the spire's goddess. I think that this is interesting that these even veteran climbers don't recognize this particular mark, and so he's going to have to figure out how it works. And, he still hasn't finished his first year at this, like, magic school, and if he fails his final exams, he's going to be sent off to the military and lose his chance to investigate his brother's fate. And also, enemies. there are many enemies, and he's not sure if perhaps one of his former close companions is one of them. So that sounds awesome. Again, it's a series I've been meaning to continue for a while. So with that, those are the 5 books that I think I will likely read over the holidays, and obviously, I'll read more in addition to those, but I think that those are, I just wanted to, give myself a smaller video to film, because that makes things easier as I'm trying to, pre-film and edit everything. So with that, let me know in the comments if you read any of these books or think you might pick them up. And for your question of the day, what is something that you may read over the holidays? I do have a Discord channel, and if you want to join that, the link is in the description below. I hope you're all having an excellent day and are reading something awesome. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a big thumbs up, as that would certainly help me out. But with that, I think I'm going to wrap it up here and see you in the next one.